Okay, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle once again with another episode of Hillsborough and Hunterdon Real. And today I got a special guest. It's my sister-in-law, Taryn McLean. So, Taryn, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Kyle, for having me.
Yeah, but looking forward to this. So, before we get into it, guys, Taryn, why don't you kind of just tell us a little bit about your family, where you guys live in, and then I'll dive into some questions from that point.
Sure. Yep. So, So my name is Taryn McLean. My husband and I live right here in Reddington, the Flemington-Reddington area. We've been here. Let's see. Nathan and I have been married 15 years. We have 2 kids. Graham is 9 and Reagan is 7. We've been living here. Let's see. Nathan and I have been living here since 2006, and I was born and raised in this area. So, we met out in Colorado. We dated long distance for a while, got married in 2005, and then we moved this way in 2006. So,
cool. So let's go right from there. How did you wind up in Colorado? Because most people never really leave.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, so I went to college down in Kentucky. I got my undergrad there, and I stayed on and got my master's in my MBA with a concentration in marketing. When I graduated with my master's, the job opportunity was out in Colorado. It was out in the Denver area. So I didn't know anybody out there, but it seemed like a great opportunity. So I kind of moved out there on a whim. Nathan and I met within a month of me living there. But we were just friends for a while. We did a ton of mountain biking out there. We skied all the time together. Nice. We started dating, and then probably within a month of us actually starting to date, I was transferred back here to the Bridgewater office. So we dated for a year. I was living in Bridgewater and Nathan was living in Colorado. And then we decided we wanted to get married. We wanted to get engaged. So I was able to get a sales job, pharmaceutical sales job out in the Denver area. So I moved back out there. Okay. We got married. Yep. And I was there for about a year and a half when we just made the decision together to come back this way to be closer to family, so we could start thinking about starting a family of our own.
So I didn't even realize that. So you were married for part of your time out there.
Yeah. We were married for about a year out there. Yep. Okay. And that was the time that Devin came out for spring break. She came out and we did. We took her all over the state.
Yeah, she's still talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, we had our first house out there, and that's where we lived for a while and then came back this way. So
I learned something new. Yeah, she always said still Colorado's her favorite state, her favorite place to be.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Beautiful it was.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, we went back once a year after we moved here until the kids were born, and we haven't brought them back. But our goal is to get them back out there to do like maybe a backpacking trip or something with Nate's dad and his brother and family. So that'd
be cool.
At some point, yeah. But yeah, it's a beautiful state. So
that'd be cool. Now, going back to, so when you graduated Kentucky, you got your MBA there, you said too?
Yep.
And then you went right out did you come home for a little bit and then go to Colorado, or was it like I got the job and you went?
So I was home for 3 months. So I graduated in December. I was home January, February, and March. I did my training back here in Bridgewater because this is where their headquarters were. And then the beginning of April is when I actually moved out to Colorado then and started. They had a regional office out there in Denver. So
cool.
So yeah, so about 3 months in between, and that was just training that I was doing. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about because I think it's a really cool thing. We'll talk about as a kid, as in high school, what sports were you into? And I want to kind of go down that road, and I got some questions about that. But talk about your sport and your athletic career.
Yeah, sure, of course. I guess I'd never really considered myself an athlete. I mean, I played softball, I played soccer, I did gymnastics, all those things I just kind of tried my hand at. But when I was 13, I think we were out, I don't even remember where we were, at some rifle range somewhere. And these people were like, oh, let her try it, whatever. And I picked the gun up and I, took a few shots, and they're like, wow, you're really good. So from then on, I was like, you know what, I think this would be a cool sport to do. It's not riflery isn't a sport that a lot of people know about. It's not a sport that a lot of people are involved in. So I don't know. I've always been one to like go for the more unique, something that's a little bit more of a, I don't know, just something different, right? So I started shooting when I was in, I guess that's the beginning of high school. So I shot all through high school. I didn't shoot for the high school. We didn't have a team. So I shot out of a private club in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. I was able to go out to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs a few times to compete in the Junior Olympics out there. Yeah, and that's what ultimately led me to Kentucky. I was able to get a scholarship to go shoot for them. At the time, they were ranked top 3 in the country, and I knew if I really wanted to push myself in the sport, I needed to go somewhere where I would be pushed. So that's why I ultimately chose Kentucky to shoot there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and I know some of your, before I asked about some of the details in the mindset of shooting, at Kentucky, you were an All-American, correct?
Yep. So my freshman year and my senior year, both years, I was All-American in air rifle.
Oh,
So, yep.
and then you were also, I believe, the Kentucky Athlete of the Year, Woman Athlete of the Year.
Yeah. So my senior year, they chose a female athlete from every state in the United States, and I was chosen from Kentucky. So I was able to go to I think it was the NCAA. It was the Hall of Fame, something in Indianapolis, and they had a ceremony for the 50 women that were chosen. So that was a really cool event. I got to meet, I think her name was Robin Roberts. I have a picture with her. Yeah, it was just a really cool. My parents were able to fly out for that, so they were able to be there. So that was really, really cool. Yeah.
That's great. Now, with riflery, because again, a lot of people, I'm not too familiar with it. A lot of people aren't too familiar with it. So in college, you had the team. Is it kind of like wrestling where you have like the team event and then you also individual championships?
Yep. So it's interesting. So all throughout the year, it's all team. So there's no individual numbers at all throughout the season. So your regular season, what happens is you go into the match, and the coach has to select the top 4 people for air rifle and the top 4 people for small bore. Those are the scores that will count. So everybody on the team still shoots. It's still individual as far as like your performance. But then the 4 people that he selected are the only scores that count towards the team event part of it.
Gotcha.
So he would never tell. I mean, you would kind of know who he was going to choose, but a lot of people he didn't tell you ahead of time because it would just put the nerves on. So but then individual would come into play at the end of the year. They would look at your overall average score for the whole season, and that's how they would choose the All-Americans then for the end. They had I don't even remember. I feel like they picked 10, maybe 24 in each sport, at each 24 small bore and 24 air rifle is what they would select. So,
Okay.
and you wouldn't know if you were All-American until you were at the banquet at the NCAA championships, and then they would call everybody's name up. So that was kind of cool too. My freshman year, I didn't even really know it was a thing. So I had no idea I was even going to make it until they called my name. It was the weirdest thing because I didn't even really know what an All-American was. And then when they called my name, I'm like, oh, wow, this is really cool. So
It's a heck of an accomplishment twice.
yeah, that was really fun. And my senior year, I was able to captain the team to a number 2 finish in the country. So yeah, that was I mean, just you were just on a high. I mean, all 4 years, it was just such a great experience. So
what season is riflery? Is that like winter? Is that a winter sport or is that a
yeah, so it's I didn't know that till I went to college either. It's basically all year round in college. So you usually come in a little bit before the rest of the students come. So you start practicing in August. You're going to shoot basically all fall, all winter, and then the NCAA championships is like the middle of March. So the only time you'd really have off would be like April, May, but a lot of people would still be practicing even during that time. So but yeah, the competitions usually ran from beginning of October through the middle of March. So yeah.
So you get to the end of your collegiate career. Was there any prospects of continuing to shoot after that, as far as military or anything like that, or Olympics, or was it just like I'm done after college?
Yeah. So before I started college, my goal was always to be in the Olympics. I mean, and there was a group of us that said, we're always good. We really want to go to the Olympics. That was my ultimate dream.
Sure.
But I think once I got into college and I experienced the 4 years at Kentucky, I don't know. It's like the passion to do that kind of left. And then the passion to find a career and a job. And that kind of is what ultimately made me decide to not shoot anymore. But what I did do is when I was getting my MBA, those 3 semesters, I was the assistant rifle coach. So I was able to travel with the team and still be a part of the team, even though I wasn't competing anymore. I think a lot of people that are collegiate athletes really struggle with the transition to real world where you're not, it's like you don't know how to identify yourself anymore.
Yeah.
So I think being able to be an assistant coach during that time kind of helped me transition out of it and kind of into what the next stage of my life was going to be. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Was there any thoughts given to any armed forces type of stuff, like going that route with the shooting, or no?
Well, it's interesting because one of my top 3 schools was the Naval Academy. So there's a school in Pittsburgh, Duquesne. It's a small private college. There's the University of Kentucky, and then there's the Naval Academy. And I think my family, everybody thought that the Naval Academy is what I would ultimately choose. It's what I really, really wanted. But what it came down to was a little bit of fear, which I kind of kick myself now, but I was nervous about what the commitment would look like after college. And I don't know, it was just that little bit of uncertainty, which ultimately made me decide to go the route of Kentucky instead of going into the Navy. But yeah. So it was definitely on my mind there for a while.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty neat. What did you learn from riflery? Like, what do you still carry with you as far as could be mindset, discipline? Like, what was your big takeaways for life from that?
yeah. It gave me a lot of self-confidence. I will say that. I was a very, very shy, awkward teenager. I really, really struggled with that, mainly in high school. So it gave me an outlet. It gave me a place to be somebody different. And it gave me the self-confidence to say, even though I'm shy, even though I don't know, it was just a strange time in high school. So it gave me a lot. It really gave me, I believed in myself. It showed me goal setting. The mental part was hard for me, to be honest with you. And it got worse throughout my collegiate career. So I remember at the NCAA championships at Ohio State, my senior year, I was going down range to hang my target, because back then you still would hang like a paper target that you would shoot at. And my hands were shaking so much that my coach had to take the target out of my hand and hang it himself. And he was like, this is just ridiculous. I would just get in my head. I would get so nervous. So I actually spent a lot of time with, the school psychologist at Kentucky was a Division I golfer. So he kind of understood the mental aspect of the sport, where a lot of other people don't understand the mental aspect of shooting. So I worked with him for about 2 years, my junior and senior year in college, just to try to figure out how to overcome those nerves and figure out, I could shoot personal bests at practice all day long, but the minute it was a match, it was like something would flip in my brain. So people don't realize it is a mental game. It really is. Rifle is huge mental. So, but yeah, those are things that I've taken throughout my life and in different settings, been able to push through things, I guess, and show myself that even though it's hard, we're going to figure out a way to do it. So,
Yeah. So despite that, 2-time All-American, it's not like you had a failure of a career, and it's,
yeah.
I know just from watching the Olympics with it, how much it is about controlling your breathing and
Oh,
your
yeah.
rate, right? And,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
a big benefit, I think, to you, because
Yeah.
if you could control that on command, anytime you start feeling stuff rise up, you could probably go
Yeah.
back to that same skill set,
Sure.
and
Sure.
draw it in. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So
Thanks.
nowadays, as far as athletically, I know you've done a few marathons. How many marathons have you done?
Okay. So I've done one marathon.
Okay.
I ran that with Nathan on our 1-year wedding anniversary. So we did the Cape Cod Marathon that Sunday, which was exactly a year that we'd been married. And it's funny, if you ask Nathan about that marathon, he'll tell you it's kind of been like our journey together, I guess you'd say. He was a marathon runner. He was like a long distance running junkie. We trained for the marathon together. I got it in my head. I'm going to be a long distance runner, adrenaline junkie too. So we trained for it together. We decided we were going to run the marathon together. We were at the halfway point. I think it was like right around 2 hours, 2:10, which would have brought me in at like 4 hours and a half for the whole marathon. something happened to my foot, and I don't to this day know what it was, but it was like something, I tore something, pull something, but the first half of the marathon was 2 hours and 10 minutes. The second half was 3 hours and 50 minutes. We basically had to like hobble our way for the second 13 miles. And there were so many times I wanted to quit. Oh my goodness. The way they call it the sag wagon would pull up and they'd be like, are you sure you're going to finish? We can put you in the wagon and drive you to the finish line. And, you know, without Nathan, I probably would have gotten in that, but he was like, no, we're doing this. We didn't train this long to get in a van and get to the finish line. So we finished it together. I have never done another full marathon. I've done a lot of half marathons. I don't think I'll ever do another marathon again, but Nathan will tell you like the stubbornness on that day. It's just been, I mean, it's just, we'll say that that's, you know, been our life, right? Just push through stuff. So
yeah, that's the athlete, you know, the I will mentality.
Yeah.
You can just push yourself to do stuff. And I didn't know that either. So that's
Yeah.
Any more plans to do any more halves or any shorter?
Probably again. I mean, I'm sure you know what brought me to Newell Strength was I was trying to break 2 hours in the half marathon for years. And I would do like 2 hours and 50 seconds, 2 hours and 30 seconds. And I just could not break that barrier. So I remember talking to you about it, feeling just low. Like, I don't know. And it's a self goal that I gave myself. You don't have to break 2 hours, but it was just like in my head, I wanted to do it. So then I started working out at the gym. You said just one night a week. That's all I had to commit to. So one night a week I was there doing all sorts of stuff I'd never done before, pulling stuff and pushing stuff. And but yeah, then that year I ran the half marathon in Philadelphia in November, and it was 1 hour, 59 minutes and 45 seconds, I think. And it's like, holy crap. I mean, you talk about a high, like, I mean, I don't know. It was like no other. So yeah. So I've run a handful since then, but I've really just gotten addicted to weight training and going to the gym. And I feel like that's better for my body overall than just the repetitive pounding on the pavement. So
but that's amazing. I remember when you did that. Something else I wanted to talk to you about before we'll get into the exciting things you got going on with the business. But you got into, within the past couple of years, ministry. I believe it's called Stephen Ministry, right?
Yep.
What is that? What made you want to get into it? What's the purpose of what you want to do with that?
So Stephen Ministry, we basically call ourselves the after people. So after the funeral, after the divorce is final, after you lose your job, basically after anything's happened in your life and that support that you have from your friends and family, everybody kind of goes back to living their lives. That's where the Stephen Ministers step in. We're basically Christian caregivers, I guess. We're not psychologists. We're not psychiatrists. We're just there to like walk the walk with people. You know, after everybody goes back to their regular life and they're, you know, this person's still having a tough time. You know, I meet with my person. I meet with her once a week. I pray with her. We laugh, we cry. Basically just there to support her in anything she needs. So I started the training, let's see, last October. It was about 50 or 60 hours worth of classroom and at home training. I was commissioned February of 2019, and I was immediately assigned what they call a care receiver. So, and yeah, I meet with her once a week, and I just kind of felt like this is what I was called to do as far as, I don't know, just, they say to basically live like Jesus lives in your heart, and just, you know, you don't have to be singing religious songs to people or quoting the Bible, but just showing compassion towards people and helping people. And I really enjoy it. And I'll say that I have gotten more out of Stephen Ministry than the person that I work with every week. So I really believe that she's given me more than I've given her, because it's really changed my life. And every time I walk in there, even if I'm having a hard day, I walk out of there, I feel like my bucket's full and I just feel good. So it's amazing work. It really is. And I really enjoy it. So
now, so you have one lady you've been linked up with. How long does that relationship last for? Is it like How long is it when she's like, okay, I'm good, or is this like a lifetime, or like?
Yeah, so it could be different for different people. Some people only need to see an minister for a few months and then they get through whatever tough time they're going through. And then, you kind of part ways and stay friends, but the Stephen minister part of the relationship ends. I don't know. With the woman that I'm with, I could see it lasting a few years. She needs a lot of assistance and a lot of support. So, but yeah, sometimes people only need it for a few months. Sometimes it goes into years. I guess it just depends on the nature of the person who needs that caregiving. So,
And she was a part of your church?
yeah, she's a member of the church. Yep, yep. So we were assigned, yeah, it's been almost a year. It's crazy, but yeah, I've been meeting her with her once a week. So,
That's great.
yeah, it's great. It's been a great experience. So,
And do you have to, so it took you a long time to get certified, do you have to continue to do stuff or is it once you're certified, you're good to go?
yeah, so we have what we call small group supervision. So I meet with my small group every 3 weeks. And I guess that's kind of like continuing education, so everyone gives like a little debrief on how their relationship's going. And then we lean on each other. We learn things from each other. So I'll continue to do that every couple weeks for as long as I have this person assigned to me. So that way you keep your skill set up and you learn from other Stephen ministers. So.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying too. It's you feel good after, even though you're the one kind of just listening or doing whatever you have to do, but it's a great thing for both sides.
Yeah, yeah. And it's taught me active listening. I don't know if anybody's ever really actively listened unless it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, an hour of actively listening to somebody. And these people have been through a lot of pain, so not only is it listening, but they say to allow yourself to be a vessel. So let the water come in and then let the water go out. So don't, because sometimes it's hard to not take on their pain and their struggles, and not internalize it. So that's been something I've had to work on, because sometimes things that we talk about can be deep and tough. And but yeah, the active listening is something that I think has helped me in all relationships, not just with Stephen ministry, but just in life. So
Yeah, like you said, listening is a skill, and it's the most underrated skill, and most people don't listen ever.
yeah,
Yeah, they're like that Seinfeld, just waiting to talkers. They're just waiting
yep,
to see what they want to say next.
yep,
And it's
yeah,
that reminds me of what you just said. I was just listening to a Stevie Nicks song the other day, and she's going back, and a lot of people are looking at her lyrics, and she said, "Don't listen to me, listen through me." So kind of
oh wow,
what you're
yeah,
doing with your partner that you've been partnered up with,
yep,
listening to the message, and vice versa. She'll be listening through you,
sure,
inspiration that you're receiving.
yeah, yeah,
So that's good stuff. That's
yeah,
very admirable.
thank you,
So
yeah,
yeah, you're welcome. So let's talk about the exciting stuff you got going on
yeah.
at the agency over there on Main Street in Flemington. So how long have you been? So let's go back. Give us the history of the Lewis agency, which is going to be the Lewis-McLean agency. But give us the history. When did this start? And then we'll kind of go forward from there.
Yeah, sure. So my dad started the agency in 1965. He started back when they would have a little booth at a Sears store. He'd stand up at the booth, talk to people. He wrote a lot of policies at people's kitchen tables. I mean, that's just the way it was done then. So in 2006, he retired. My brother Gavin he bought the agency from our dad, and he became the agent. And then just a couple months after Gavin took over, I wound up coming into the business as well. So that was June of 2006.
Okay.
So I've been basically like a partner, office manager, do a little of everything for the last 14 years. So yeah, so it's been in my family for a very long time. And my mom worked here, my aunt worked here. I mean, it's family owned and operated for sure. So
That's 55 years, right? If I'm doing my math right.
55, 60, 70. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's been in the family a long time. So I always like to tell people I bleed blue from Kentucky, but also from all states. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
Gavin, who you mentioned, your brother, he's moving on to a different path in life. So
yeah.
what does that mean for you?
Yeah, so in August of this year, I was approved to purchase the agency from Gavin, because even though we're independently owned, it still has to be has to go through Allstate corporate to become approved. So I was approved as a buyer back in August. Since then, it's been a whirlwind. Oh my goodness. I had no idea the amount of training. I had to get all my securities licenses. So I had to take my Series 6, my Series 63, securities industry essentials, just hours and hours. I can't even tell you how much studying. But I was able to get all those licenses. I actually just yesterday got an email, my welcome letter. So I have officially become approved to sell financial securities within Allstate, which was huge.
Congratulations.
So, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so as of January 1st, I'll be the owner of the Lewis agency. I'll be the agent owner here. We're keeping the same location, keeping the same staff, but yeah, I'll be the face of the Lewis agency.
Yeah. And that's it. I know it's got to be, it's very exciting, but it's also got to be a little, I know from just owning businesses, it's got to be a little nerve wracking, right?
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, always. You're definitely, you're putting your foot out there. I don't know. Yeah, of course, it's nerve wracking. But I will say one of my favorite songs right now is a Chris Stapleton song. And my favorite line is, and I'm not going to be able to think of it right now, but basically, like, the hard roads are the ones worth pursuing. Basically, if it's hard, like nothing that's easy, nothing that's hard, nothing that's worth it is going to be easy.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's, you see the hard road, but it's the one worth pursuing and worth going after. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Stapleton's the best.
yeah, it's called Starting Over. It's one of his new songs, but man, it's
we've been listening to that.
It's like the soundtrack right now that I've got, that it just seems like so perfect for what we're going through right now.
We were thinking that we listened to that song the past 2 Sundays, a couple of the kids. It's it's a good song.
It's a great song.
Yeah, it's relevant for what you're going through and
sure,
the world in general.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah. What's the so you've already been preparing to take over the ownership.
Yeah.
What do you envision the first couple months? Like, is there anything that you're looking to implement that kind of puts your own, and it's when you take over a business or you own a business, right? It's not that you're going to reinvent the wheel, but everybody has their own fingerprint they want to put on it, their own ideas. So is there anything that you're real excited about that you're going to start potentially doing there?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. If you ask the staff here, I've got lots of ideas. I can't wait. I'm so excited. But a big thing we're going to start doing is getting more involved in the community. I mean, we're right on Main Street in Flemington. Like, we can feel the energy in the office. So we want to get outside of the office and be more plugged into like all the events that happen on Main Street. We want to start doing some, whether it's a food drive or a coat drive, or we want to start have people come in and run a blood drive or something. Like, I want to just connect more with the people in the community. And actually, one of the things you gave me the idea is I want to start like a newsletter, like a get to know me, get to know the agency. And I don't know, I think that'll be really cool, just to try to connect with the existing customers and have them realize, like, I'm not just a face, I'm not just a name, like, I'm a real person. And so I'm excited to really just kind of connect with everybody a little bit more. Like I said, just get out there on the street and just meet people and network. And yeah, we've got some big goals this year, Kyle. Good grief. We've got big goals. I can't wait though. Yeah, it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, and that's how people connect. It's about relationships. Any business is really about the relationships, and get to know people. You sharing your stories like you're doing today with them. Where it's not just it's like right to gym. It's not just a gym. You got to get to know people and the stories and the struggles. So I'm excited to see what you do, and
thank you.
We'll be supporting you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. A couple quick questions I got for you.
Yep.
What if I said, okay, what's your favorite book? What comes to mind?
Oh goodness. Let's see. Well, my favorite author is Jodi Picoult.
Okay.
So she's interesting because she attacks tough subjects that people don't always talk a lot about, whether it's mental illness, school shootings, just a lot of different things. And it's interesting because she writes about it in a very unique way where you can you understand the topic, but then it pulls you in with the story. I mean, the one I'm reading right now, it's a guy that decided he wanted to learn more about wolves. And in order to do that, he actually had to become part of the wolf pack. And he lives with this wolf for like 2 years. He lives with this wolf pack and he eats with them and he sleeps with them and he hunts with them. And I don't know. I just think she writes it in a way that I can learn about different
Yeah,
topics and key things, but it's entertaining as well. So
well, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it's I didn't start until a couple years ago really reading fiction, and I think it's such a great thing for the brain,
yeah.
especially if you own a business, just to unplug, but you can still learn, you
Yeah.
know, and get lost in it, and it's
Yeah.
better than just kind of zoning out with the TV.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's what I did last night. Now, last night I didn't read anything like too heavy though. I was reading just like a fluffy
Yeah,
book that I've read like 10 times, but sometimes it's just relaxing for me. I
yeah,
don't have to focus so much on the storyline and I can just relax. I know the characters already and yeah. But reading's huge. I mean, we've instilled such a love of reading in our kids and my 9-year-old he just takes books in. Like we can't keep books coming in fast enough for him to read it. He doesn't care what the book is about. He'll read it. It's
it's
pretty
awesome.
cool. So yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's it. That's going to be. I always believe, all leaders are readers. And it gives you such an advantage over
Yeah.
other. Most people just never read. They just don't.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know. So that's a
Yeah.
cool thing. How about 5 years from now? What do you see for your life?
Oh boy. Let's see. 5 years. Well, I think the agency is going to be really successful. I'd like to grow the agency. I'd like to have at least 2 more staff in here.
Okay.
Let's see, Graham would be 14, Reagan would be 12. Travel, huge for us. Like we've been kind of waiting for the kids to get a little bit older to do some of the tougher travel. So I want to get them out to Belize and I want to do like an adventure island type vacation. I want to get them out for that week-long backpacking trip out in Colorado. I'd like to do some hut trips with them up in New Hampshire, some backpacking hut trips.
Yeah.
So really just travel. That's a huge thing for us. Just once the kids are old enough to really physically do a lot of the things. For my 20th wedding anniversary, which would be in 5 years, I would like to do the rim to rim to rim challenge out in the Grand Canyon. So you start at one end, you go down, go back up, down, go back up, all in one day.
Huh.
And I'd like to renew my wedding vows with Nathan at the bottom, like by the river there. So
Would you do that without the kids?
yeah, it would just be the 2 of us. So I would love to do yeah.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. But I'm like, I love adventure junkie. Yeah. I'll do it all. So I love it. So yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
How about if you were to go back and give your 20-year-old self some advice, knowing what you know now, what would you tell her?
I'd say I worried about a lot of stuff back then, right? So I didn't really know who I was. I worried about who I was going to marry, if I was going to have kids earlier enough in life. And I don't know, I guess I just worried about a lot of stuff. And I guess if I could tell her, like, it's all going to be okay, it's all going to work out the way it's planned to work out. And don't ever lose like that drive and that self-confidence, because I know sometimes like when I was in high school, I'd meet people and they would think I was like stuck up or something because I don't know. It was like they either thought I was shy but I don't know, like just be yourself. Like even if you're strange or unique or you choose a path that not everybody chooses, like that's okay. Some people might not like it, but just, find your tribe of your people and just don't lose who you are. I think that's huge. And I have a 7-year-old daughter who, boy, she pushes me on a daily basis, but everybody said like, don't take that away from her because she knows what she wants. She's going to be strong woman. So, yeah. So I guess that's what I would tell my 20-year-old self, just to, believe in myself and know that I am capable of doing what I set out to do. So
Yeah, you're living it now. So
yeah.
It's,
Life is good. It is.
yeah, it is. And we need more individuals, people that don't just think like everybody else, and do like everybody else does. Because that's people that do that. I think that it's not it's their own path, but they don't fully experience life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
I mean, when I go to the gym, people laugh. They're like, oh gosh, what is she going to make us do now? Like, and I'll get the chains out and put chains on people. Like, but it's, I don't know, it's fun. And I guess they realize like, that's who I am. Like, I'm always going to push it to make it a little bit harder, right? A little bit different. So, but that's just who I am. So
Like,
people, people realize that now. So,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So before we tell people where they can find more about the Lewis McLean agency, tell us first, like, who's an ideal clientele for you? What are your services over there?
Yep.
Because I
Yep.
didn't, like, for a long time, right? When I would think of Allstate, I just thought of cars because maybe
Yep.
it's because of the commercials. I don't know, but that was
Sure.
all I knew.
Yeah. Yeah. So pretty much any type of personal insurance we do. So whether it's your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance, if you have a boat or a motorcycle, if you rent, your renter's insurance. So those are all like your personal lines. We do commercial as well. So we realtors, architects, accountants, we do a lot of commercial, landscapers. And then we all have, the reason I had to get all my securities licenses is we do all financial planning as well. So we do life insurance, all different types of life insurance products. We do college planning, retirement planning, long-term care, as you know, is so important right now.
Yeah,
So we pretty much do it all. And what we try to do is be like the insurance company in the household. So we want to kind of take care of everything for you. And the reason that our agency in Allstate is nice is you can make one phone call. We don't ever ask you for your policy number. We ask you for your name. We'll look you up. Usually we know a little bit about you already because we know all of our customers, and we can handle everything for you. So if you need pet insurance, if you need cell phone and, insurance for your cell phone in case it breaks, like, we'll take care of it for you. We want to make it easy. And I think people really, really want customer service nowadays. Like, and we have very competitive products, but I think at the end of the day, people are so busy. They want to feel heard. They want to trust who they're working with. And they want to know that when I ask a question, I know you're going to give me the true answer. And not that just that I can trust you, but that you're going to take care of it. Like,
yeah,
you're going to take care of what we need, So, and our clients, they'll tell you, like, they refer, they want to be with us. They are, like you say with the gym, it's like family. I mean, it feels like that too with customers,
yeah.
I mean, we have customers that my dad wrote their policy 50 some years ago. So it's, it's cool. It's really, and it's fun. And you become I guess you become not the authority, but like you know enough about it that they trust you. They
Yeah.
trust your advice. They trust your guidance. And we really take care of our customers here, which is huge. So.
Right. And is it mainly clientele from the Hunterdon County area? Is that where you specialize? Or are you looking?
No, we're all over this. I mean, we can write in the entire state. We could write
Okay.
anybody a policy.
Matter.
I mean, we do have a lot of people in Hunterdon County, obviously, too, but yeah, no, we can write in the whole state. So yeah.
Very cool. So the only type of insurance you guys don't do is like health insurance, right?
We don't do health insurance. No.
Everything else.
Pretty much. I mean, we don't do like malpractice insurance for doctors, things
Okay.
like that. But yeah, if you have a business and you have a car for your business, we can write the car. We can write policy for liability. We can write policy for all the stuff that you own for your business. So,
Okay.
yeah, we pretty much do it all. So
Great. Great. Well, I'm looking forward to this next journey of yours.
thank you.
Proud.
Appreciate that.
It's going to be very cool.
Thank you. Thank
How,
you.
what's the best way? I'll put this in the notes, but what's the best way for people to reach out to you for your services?
Yeah, I would say if you call the office, you can put the number down there. It's the 908-782-6560.
Okay.
So that's the easiest way. Or if you send an email, it would be T for Taryn and then McLean at allstate.com.
Okay. I'll put
Yep.
both of those in there, and then we'll get this blasted out. And yeah, great job,
Awesome.
Taryn.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome. Let me just bring this to a